Hey YouTube, Reagan's Ridge here. Just thought I'd bring you one of my old flea market finds back before I was doing flea market find videos and show you this nifty little conversation piece is what it was when I bought it. And now it seems like it might actually serve a purpose. So I was wandering around the flea market and I happened to see the old civil defense logo and I thought, hey, that's probably a Geiger counter. So I went over and asked, hey, is that a Geiger counter? And the lady was like, yeah, it's for checking for radiation. I was like, I know what it is. And I asked her, does it work? And she said, oh, absolutely it works. And she wanted $50 for it or something like that. It was some exorbitant amount of money. It was ridiculous. So instead of just taking her word for it, I went ahead and I popped it open. And the inside was full of that rust and corrosion. And where these batteries are at, all these little terminals were completely destroyed. They were just completely eaten up with rust and corrosion. Now, you can see that they're not now, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But I went through and I repaired it. But before I purchased it from her, I also went and I cycled the switch here. It goes between 1 times, 10 times, and 100 times for attenuation. So you can use the meter for different ranges. And she still swore up and down it worked, and when I rotated the switch and it came apart and pieces were falling out of it, I was like, I think I'm gonna pass. And she wound up just I think she gave it to me for like $10 or $20. And even not working, to me it was just kind of, I mean, it's a piece of history, right? Old civil defense meter, you know, the old nuclear war threat that everybody was afraid of. And as far as I could tell, the Geiger tube was still good. I mean, it didn't have any physical damage, not like you can tell if it works from there. And it didn't have the original headset with it either. So I came home, I looked it over, I took it apart, I got all the broken components out, and I started shopping around online. And I found somebody who sold me replacement battery clips, some Coleman lamp mantles. If you didn't know, old Coleman lamp mantles have a low level of radiation that they emit. So you can actually use them to see if your Geiger tube is still working, if the little check source is missing. But I also bought the headset that you see right here and the operating manual for it. And while I was at it, I spoke to the guy, and he had the last of his available replacement boards for this. It's actually an upgrade. And yeah, the instruction and maintenance manual for it. So I've got all the instructions for it, and it shows how everything's used and how to maintain it. So it's kind of nifty to have the original book. It has the schematic that's completely ruined on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and print that up and laminate it and stick it back in there. Anyhow, so he sold me the board, which had the potentiometer, I'm sorry, the switch on it, which was this one. This is the old damaged, broken one. You can see pieces of it were falling off. I removed it, and I removed it from this board and installed it in that meter because I didn't want to upgrade the board yet. I might still wind up doing it, and it's easy as can be. It's only a couple of solder locations, and I still have a couple of leftover clips for it too. And here's the little bit of a radiation source. But it was interesting to get a chance to actually turn it on. And let me pop this loose. Okay. So expose the Geiger tube. Here, click. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over and see if you can hear this. And that's a sound you don't really want to hear. Anyhow, and then if you shield it, because this is looking for alpha and beta radiation, you shouldn't get any more noises. Anyhow, so that's that one. And while I was at it, I started getting interested in these devices, and I started looking a little bit further, and I wound up again coming across somebody else who had yet another old Victorine model, and that was this one. It's kind of interesting too, because I've got the original box. This one was checked out in January of 1986, so I'm sure it's out of calibration. These old components aren't known for lasting forever. This one's interesting though. Has the carry bag. The manual. This one was manufactured in the 60s. And what's this? I got more than one manual? Oh, I guess I've got more than one manual for it. Another manual. And this one here is an interesting device. So if you notice and you look at the two, there's a definite difference in height. One's taller than the other. And look at that, they even have warnings on them not to leave the batteries in. So this one has two sets of snaps on it too. Oh, pardon me. So what this one's for is a whole lot different than the other one. One hand this. I'm gonna have to get a tripod for this camera sometime. This actually has the sensor separate, and it has a coil of coax to send the signal. This one is set up to where you hang this portion outside of a civil defense shelter, and you connect this with this cable to the bottom of this meter and leave this meter clipped to a wall or hanging or sitting somewhere. Now this one, if you turn this on and that is showing anything and there hasn't been a nuclear war or a meltdown, yeah, it's probably not working. This is a meter that I never want to see actually functioning and showing anything, but it's an interesting tool to have. It's, again, another conversation piece to have around, show people, you know, especially with the way things are going right now. Might not be too terrible of a device to have. So, anyways, that was about all I had on that. And the more I looked into it, the more I thought it might not be too bad of an idea to hunt down some of that stuff. Apparently this stuff can't be found for love or money anymore. That is the FDA approved potassium iodide tablets that you would take in the event of a radiation emergency. Saturates your thyroid with potassium iodide instead of radioactive iodine. And you would know that if you read this book. Nuclear War Survival Skills by Crescent H. Kearney. And in here, there's actually plans to make a makeshift, non-battery powered version of this without any electronics, just with things that you would have laying around the house. And I need to turn that off and remove the batteries. Anyhow, that was it. Just thought these were all interesting little things to find. Flea markets, and well, that was ordered only because, well, to complete all the other accoutrements, and had to have the manuals. And this stuff was ordered here, the things I showed you on the little invoice. But yep, that's about all I got. So maybe sometime I'll show this one doing just a function check, because it does have a circuit check function. But that's about it. Showed you the little conversation piece Geiger counters that I picked up at the flea markets. Anyhow, Reagan's Ridge. If you like my videos and you want to see more of the stuff that I bring you, just make sure to hit like and subscribe. And if you got any suggestions of anything that you'd like to see, or if I've mentioned that I'm going to fix something in one of my videos, I'm terrible about getting back to actually fixing them and putting a video up. If you'd like to see something specific, just let me know. Say something in the comments. Reagan's Ridge out.